When I first moved into the house, I thought I'd struck gold. It was an older home, tucked into a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of the city. The rent was unbelievably cheap, but the landlord assured me it was simply because he struggled to find tenants willing to take on an old property with its quirks. I didn't mind the creaky floors or outdated fixtures. It had character, and I was excited to make it my own. The first few days were uneventful. I spent my time unpacking and settling in, enjoying the solitude after years of cramped apartment living. But by the end of the first week, I started noticing small, strange things. My keys, which I'd always left on the kitchen counter, would show up on the coffee table. A glass I hadn't used appeared in the sink, half filled with water. At first, I shrugged it off. Moving was stressful, and I figured I must have been more scatterbrained than usual. Then there were the noises. They started late at night, faint enough at first that I convinced myself I was just imagining them. It sounded like soft footsteps, like someone shuffling around in socks. Sometimes there was a faint creak as well, as if the old wooden floorboards were straining under weight. I told myself it was a house settling, but it didn't feel right. The sounds were coming from above. One night, I woke up abruptly to the sound of something falling. It wasn't loud, but it was distinct, a soft thud, followed by what sounded like a quiet scrape. My heart pounded as I lay frozen in bed, straining to hear more. After a few minutes of silence, I convinced myself it had to be nothing, a loose shutter maybe, or something shifting in the attic. But it was enough to make me uneasy. The next morning I decided to investigate. The house did have an attic, though I hadn't been up there yet. The entrance was a small hatch in the hallway ceiling, with a pull-down ladder. When I climbed up, flashlight in hand, I found nothing unusual, just insulation, cobwebs, and a few forgotten boxes left behind by the previous tenants. Relieved, I chalked the noises up to paranoia and went on about my day. But the incidents kept happening. Items went missing only to reappear in places I had never put them. Lights I was sure I'd turned off were on when I woke up. Once I returned home from work to find the bathroom faucet running. My skin prickled every time I walked into the house, a sensation like I was being watched. The noises at night grew more frequent and more distinct. I started losing sleep, lying awake each night, clutching my phone and listening for any sign of movement. One night, as I stared out of my bedroom door, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The attic hatch wasn't sitting flush. It was just slightly ajar, as if someone had opened it and forgot to close it all the way. I didn't sleep that night, so the next day, I decided to check the attic again, this time in broad daylight. My hand shook as I pushed the hatch open and climbed inside. At first, everything looked the same as before, but then I noticed it. A corner of the attic where the insulation had been pushed aside, revealing a small hollow space. Inside the space was a sleeping bag, crumpled and stained. Around it were items I immediately recognized. Some missing socks, a half-eaten box of cereal, and an old sweatshirt that I could have swore I misplaced. My throat tightened as I spotted something else, a notebook. I flipped it open to find pages filled with erratic handwriting, sketches of the house, and chillingly detailed notes about my daily routine. I scrambled out of the attic, my heart racing, and called the police. They arrived quickly, sweeping through the house and the attic. That's when they found her. She was hiding behind the insulation, crouched like a wild animal. A woman, gaunt and disheveled, her eyes darting frantically as they pulled her out. She'd been living in the attic for weeks, maybe months, slipping down at night to take food and watch me as I slept. The officers told me she'd been squatting in houses for years, always choosing one with attics that had easy access. My house was just her latest stop. The landlord claimed he had no idea, though I wasn't for certain I believed it. I moved out the next day. Even now in my new apartment, I can't shake the feeling that I'm not alone. Every creak, every shadow, every misplaced item sends a jolt of fear through me. I've since installed locks on every door and window, but I still lie awake some nights, staring at the ceiling and wondering if she's found her way back. To the woman who lived in my attic, let's not meet again. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment below sharing your thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't already. I've got more chilling tales coming your way very soon, so stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching.